Good evening. So, I want to address something today that's been, I wouldn't say winding me up, but playing on my mind a little bit for a little while. Now, we all know that the general public's perception of people that live in vans or vehicles is probably pretty low for the most part. But why on earth are people who live in vehicles giving other people that live in vehicles so much shit? So let me explain. And this is based on things I've seen, things I've heard, things that have been aimed at me, things that have been aimed at my friends, so on, so forth. So we've got people that live in expensive vans or motorhomes making comments about tramps, scrubbers, etc., etc., that live in you know, pretty rundown vehicles or poor and who struggle. Then on the other end of the scale, you've got those that potentially live on the bread line, that live in rundown vehicles, that look down on those who live in better vehicles because somehow they are rich kids, trust fund kids, I don't know, e-beggars, and all that kind of bullshit. Just cannot get my head around. I read so many comments. I get comments myself. And I literally get both ends of the scale myself. How did you afford that? How did you do that? You're begging. You're doing this. Why don't you get a job? Then I get people saying, oh, well, I can't afford luxuries like you. I can't do this. I can't do that. I haven't got the money that you've got. Well, nobody out there knows how much money I've got or how much I don't have, apart from me. So it's just guessing. It's just speculating. And again, the negativity I get from other van dwellers for having a YouTube channel or having more subscribers than them, or the best one I've heard recently is that I've heard that I'm a fake van lifer. I don't really understand what that means. Like, I live in my van. It's never been questioned. Never been questioned whether I live in a van or not. Everybody knows I live in a van. I'm a fake van lifer. Fake. Nobody can explain what that means. It's just something that's thrown out there to discredit somebody else's version of van life. And again, that comes from somebody that lives in a van themselves. So, doing exactly the same thing as them, but one person's faking it. Same person insisting that me and some other people are e-beggars, this, that and the other, but then has a Patreon account where he's insisting that people sign up to their Patreon account so they can watch their videos. So, I'm a beggar but they're not. How does that work? I'm a trust fund kid was a good one. And again, this is not all just about me. This is stuff that I see thrown around at everybody else, but I'm using me as an example. Trust fund kid. Now, I don't even believe that trust funds are something that is right in this country. Like, is that not an American thing, a trust fund? Just to clarify, my dad doesn't speak to me because I don't live how he wants me to live. Pure and simple. Second time he's abandoned me in my life, but that's a different story. Fuck that guy. And my mum passed away 11 years ago, and she left me a broken sat-nav. Now, two things. Number one, I couldn't sell that sat-nav to pay for a trip to Portugal because it were broke. Second off, even if I'd used the sat-nav, it wouldn't have got me to Portugal because it was broke. So, I don't get money from anybody. I don't have any relatives that send me money. And I don't know anybody else that does. I see this aimed at other people. Kite Van Man, one of my favourite people on this earth, one of my favourite YouTubers, gets called some sort of trust fund kid or something. That guy literally publishes books, works bloody hard online, and still gets called some sort of beggar. And again, that's by somebody who's on universal credit, who doesn't work. Now, what triggered most of this thought process off was a group on Facebook where they were it was taking the piss out of Vanlifers, and which is fine, which is funny, and that, like, I take the piss out myself as much as anybody else. But when you realise it was people that live in vehicles that were taking piss out of people that live in vehicles for living in vehicles differently to how they live in vehicles, it all just seemed a bit bizarre. And I went through, I did end up arguing with some of them, I admit, but I went through and just looked, and it was like, oh, look at you with your IKEA spice rack. Alright, so how do you keep your spices? Well, they're just falling around in a cupboard. Alright, so because I've organised my spices, I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud, because I organised my spices, you somehow look down on me. So I've done something better than you, and you look down on me for doing it. My van is neater than yours, so you look down on me for doing it like that. Look how neat your bed is. You don't sleep in that. Well, I do. I just tidy my bed every morning because I'm clean and tidy. Well, you obviously don't live in your van. Well, I do live in my van. Just because you leave your bed a mess and you don't mind that, that's up to you. That's cool. But it literally, like, honestly, the stuff I read online, it really makes me fucking wonder why I'm even online at all. Just people who live exactly the same way as you, pretty much. We all live an alternative lifestyle. Why not work together on it rather than slagging each other off for living the same way, just slightly different. I think my end comment before I left that group was, we're all just different cheeks of the same arse. We're all living the same, we just do it slightly differently. That doesn't mean that, I mean, I'm far from fucking rich. I'll tell you now. I am on the poverty line myself right now after paying for this van. I certainly don't get money from a trust fund or anything like that. I've never been left any money. It's just an assumption. Oh, you've bought some Victron stuff. That was another thing. I got the piss took out of me for having Victron. So I sold my van, my old van, and invested the money from that old van in the best equipment I could find for the money. And somehow I'm having the piss took out of me for that. Apparently Victron's a bad thing now, like from those who can't afford Victron stuff. Well, you can do the same thing for much cheaper. You've wasted. Well, yeah, you can get a McDonald's burger. You can make it yourself cheaper. It's just still not a McDonald's burger, though, is it? You pay for what you get. My mind, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want you to think that this is a video of me complaining or bitching and moaning. Like, this is humorous. Like, I'm laughing at how pathetic. I don't even want to say the van life community, because even van life now has become a negative. Like, oh, these van lifers. No, well, you live in a van as well, so you are that same thing. I'm sorry, you might not like to admit that you are a van lifer, but you are. It doesn't matter if you live in a horse box or a fucking lorry or a fucking bin bag. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. I suppose it would be bag life then, wouldn't it? But yeah, I'm struggling reading people's comments online. So are we allowed to have Patreon accounts now? Because I really could do some Patrons. I'm not sure. Like, oh, are we allowed to ask for help? Because asking for help for some people is right, but for others it's wrong. When they want help, it's all right for them to ask for help, but then they'll take the piss out of other people for asking for help. Van life's fucking weird. I've never been so put off. Like, the last 3 months, I've never wanted to be less involved in the van life community ever. Fuck the lot of you. Oh my god. Just can't get my breath. More comments I've had recently. I live in a van, so I don't have to have the responsibility of looking after my children. I'm with my boy every single day, pretty much, bar 1 or 2 days this last 2 weeks. And I'm not with Alice every day, not through my choice. More will be revealed on that one. But like I touched on earlier, my dad was a waste man. I fight for my children. My children are my priority. I don't know what some people that watch these videos think I do every day. Again, I've read comments about how I'm partying every day. How does he afford to party every day? I'm on my fucking own almost every single day. Like, I don't hang around with other van lifers. Very rarely. Even when I'm in places where there are other van lifers. If I go to the Peak District, Manchester Van Life will tell you. If I'm in the Peak District and there's other vans around, I don't go socialising. I stay in my van on my own. I've always been like that. I'm a loner. I'm a recluse. I don't like crowds. I don't particularly like people. It's not that I'm ignorant. Not that I'm snobby. Not that I'm cliquey. None of that. I'm shy. Don't particularly like hanging around in groups of people. So I hang around on my own. Stay in my van on my own. Especially during this COVID thing as well. Like, I've got a newborn. I don't want to be passing diseases on or anything, or getting them from people. So I'll stay on my own. So for the most part, I'm not gallivanting off partying in the Peak District or near a beach or in Portugal or any of that. I'm in a car park somewhere. The last 2 nights I've spent in a Travelodge car park on my own, because, well, that's how my van life works, because that's how I choose to do it. So other people that might say negative comments about that probably do the same themselves. It's all a bit weird. Comments on YouTube videos are very weird. But I just wanted to clear up that I pretty much am on my own all the time, if not with my children. That is it. Children are my priority. Having my children is my priority. It just happens that I live in a van. That's the other weird thing as well, is that I am not van life. Van life isn't me. It just happens that I live in a van. I didn't know it would end up like this. I didn't know that it would happen this way. But I live a normal life. I just sleep in a van. I just live in a van. It doesn't like, it's not a big part of me. When I live in a house, when I move back to a house, I'll be the same person. I'll just happen to live in a house. I'll still do the same work, still do the same job, still probably drink too much coffee, and I'll still be with my kids as much as possible. So imagine if the same worked. Living in a house. Your neighbour comes round, says, "Oh, see you've got an IKEA spice rack." Yeah, just bought it, yeah, they're about £4. So you're an e-beggar then, are you? No, just they're only a few quid. I've got a job. I've got a job. I've seen you. You're begging, aren't you? You're begging people for money. I bet your mum and dad left you the money to buy that spice rack, didn't they? No. It's not a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money for you because you're a rich kid. No, it's £4. It's not a huge amount of money. Oh, so you've bought a bit of land in Portugal. Yeah. Oh God, you've been saving up for a while. Land's so cheap in Portugal. You get a lot more for you. You're a beggar. No. I've saved up. Land's much cheaper in Portugal. You get a lot more for your money. So really, for like 10 grand, you can get a few acres of land there. It's amazing. Yeah, but well, you know, who's left you that money? I've just got a job. Just worked a few extra shifts. No, you did. That's what it's like. The issue is that I've got is that van life, we're all meant to be living this alternative lifestyle. And we're all in it together, but we're not in it together. Ugh, dear. So even last night, I put out a video about going back into lockdown and how I'm struggling with it, as is everybody else. Not playing the victim, I'm just saying from my point of view. Remember, this is my YouTube channel. I want to give my thoughts and feelings on stuff. People are allowed to disagree, right? But I put a video out saying, struggling a bit, you know, but I'm staying in Sheffield around my kids, blah 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 blah. Even then, somebody commented, and I had to block them from my channel. Somebody commented saying that I need to get my priorities in order. I need to look after my kids, stop being a weekend dad. Seeing my kids for an hour at a time isn't good enough. I need to commit to it, blah blah blah. I said in the video that I see my son every single day, bar 1 or 2 days in the last 2 weeks actually. Seen him almost every single day. I would see Alice every single day if I could, right? I would have both my children full time if it was up to me. Like I say, I have Phoenix most of the time anyway, pretty much full time. But I would have Alice full time. It's not my decision. I am going to court to fight that to get more access to Alice because I'm being denied it, right? But even when you make a video where you're saying about these things, people are still trying to pull you down and criticise me being a dad based on some 10-minute videos that I make. Do you really think, and I know that the majority of you don't, but do some of you idiots, some of you watching that are going to say negative comments, do you really think that my days are 10 minutes long? My days are only 10 minutes long and you see everything that goes on in my life. The whole point of this video was that you only get to see maybe 1% of my actual life. So you make up the rest of it in your head. So you might see me, a video of me being drunk with Pixie and Unimpressed Jeff, right? On my birthday. My birthday was in July, remember? That was the last time I was drunk. But because I post videos, a video of that, you assume that that's what I'm like all the time, and that's not the case. I'm literally, my occupation, my main drive in life, my main thing that I do the most in life is be a dad, more than anything else. Now, I have actually fought in court as well my right to be able to put my children, well, my child Alice, on social media because somebody was trying to stop that. So all these videos we made together all over all the years that you lot have enjoyed, those got used against me, and I had to fight for my right to be able to do that. So I don't do it as much anymore, but believe me, the reason why you don't see my children on videos is because when I'm with my children, I'm not making videos, I'm with my children. Anyway, this video is meant to be tongue-in-cheek, and it is meant to be taking the piss out of a few people. Don't think for 1 second I'm down in the dumps about any of this stuff. It's just trying to sort of explain to some dingbats that you see 1% of my life. You see 10-minute videos out of, well, if I put out a 10-minute video every 2 days, that's 10 minutes out of 48 hours of my life that you see, which is nothing. Anyway, you just can't make it up. Like, it's just some of the stuff, when you put yourself on social media, some people say, well, you've got to expect it. No! How about stop being dicks? Stop being dicks. Just because I'm on social media doesn't mean you have to be dicks. I'm going now. Bye, Felicia.